This is my presentation on space exploration. Since the beginning, mankind has looked up to the sky and wondered what is out there. In recent years, we have pushed the boundaries of going further and further into the unknown. Some milestones in space exploration are a reminder of the past and where we've come from, with the first being Apollo 11. Led by the crew of Buzz Aldrin, Michael Collins and Neil Armstrong, they launched from Cape Kennedy on the 25th of May, 1961. Once in orbit of the moon, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin then detached from the satellite in a small shuttle and spent the next 21 hours on the moon, with 2 hours outside the spacecraft, and collected 21.5 kilograms of lunar rocks, and then rejoining the main satellite and heading back to Earth. Another milestone would be Sputnik 1, the first man-made satellite in space, created by the USSR and launched on the 4th of October 1957, and was the first space probe to complete a full orbit of lower Earth and lasted about 22 days. The only way the Russians could communicate with Sputnik 1 was through beeping noises that it sent out, and was received by the Russians as it went round the Earth. Sputnik 1 weighed in at 83.6 kilos and is one of the smallest satellites ever recorded. The final notable milestone is SpaceX, the first private space non-government funded aerospace manufacturer created by entrepreneur Elon Musk. The end goal of SpaceX is to provide affordable space transportation for the average working class citizen, breaking every record for privately funded spacecraft launches and recoveries, but was the first to launch a satellite around Mars, which was also carrying the heavy payload of a Tesla Roadster in 2018. Careers. There are many careers that are involved in space exploration, from preparing, designing and building spacecraft, to fixing broken servers as an electrical engineer. Every job from big to small all adds up to make launching and monitoring of a space probe go smoothly. The first job is a technician. It requires a high school graduation and at least 3 to 5 years work experience. Being a technician is a great job at NASA for people who like hands-on work, which will involve maintaining, servicing computer circuit boards and servers. The next job is an aeronautical engineer. An aeronautical engineer requires a degree in geophysics and at least 1 full year work experience as an intern or paid. The average salary starts at around $75,000 a year. This job would involve assembling and maintaining aircraft around NASA. What are the physical requirements of an astronaut? As space has zero gravity, there is weightlessness, which means that you don't have to lift body parts, which presents a problem when your bones and muscles get broken down and repaired by the nutrients that you eat. But if there is no physical impact on your body, so nutrients that repair it are not needed, but neither are your bones and muscles, so they start to deteriorate. This is why astronauts have to average about 2 hours of exercise a day, of which requires being strapped to a treadmill or bike. Weights cannot be used in space as they do not serve any purpose, as they don't need any energy to be moved, but there is a squat rack which pulls down on the bar to simulate gravity. I would like to quote Chris Hadfield, a former astronaut, and that space is the laziest place in the universe. Medically, astronauts require 20/20 vision with or without glasses. Blood pressure must be 140/90 in a sitting position, which tells them how well the blood vessels can contract and relax, which is vital in space, where zero gravity stretches the blood vessels and restricts the flow of blood to the body, which can cause blood clots. Economics. What economic influence does NASA have on the world? NASA is a space agency that has a huge impact on the world. The first reason for this is that they not only help Americans, but they help the world. One launch in particular, which is SMAP. SMAP is an Earth-orbiting satellite that, once deployed, extends out and unfolds, and it starts spinning. It uses a radiometer to see through the clouds and measures crop moisture, which is key to feeding an ever-growing population. SMAP can cover the entire Earth in under 3 days, which helps predict fertility, potential droughts, and 70-80% of the yield of the entire planet. The information that is collected from SMAP is made public to try and help everyone. The cost of SMAP was $900 million, which people argue is enough money to feed the whole of Africa for one day. I would like to quote the Bible in saying, "Give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. But teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime." SMAP teaches people about their land and can give early warning so people can prepare and work around problems well before they arise. This means that if there is becoming less and less water, then you might have to invest in irrigation or plant a hardier crop which withstands drier conditions, which leads to better yields, which equals more money that builds an economy which can bring third world countries into the 21st century. Science. What are the scientific principles that act on a rocket before launch? Let's start with combustion. Combustion is a chemical reaction between oxygen and heat. When on Earth, over factories ignite, maximize combustion, pushing out gravitational energy and how to overcome it. Whenever you jump up in the air, you are temporarily overcoming the effect of gravity. But to keep going up takes a tremendous amount of energy.
Good roll.
To overcome
Standing by the
gravity,
throttle down
there
for
must be a
max
greater
gain.
force applied acting on upward motion.
Throttle's
For
down to
example,
67% to its
rocket
very
has a
neutral
weight
maximum
of
dynamic
100
pressure.
kilograms, which is the amount of force pushing down on an object. To overcome this, the chemical energy from the combustion is converted into heat energy and kinetic energy, which, because it has been placed at the bottom of the rocket, it starts to apply up thrust, which as soon as net force, which is the sum total of opposite forces, equals less than zero, the rocket should start to take off. I hope you enjoyed my presentation and thank you for listening.